Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Uninterrupted. I'm your host, Chris Hammonds, and with me today is our COO, John Fausz. John, say good morning.
Hello.
All right, guys. As always, we're going to get right into it. So, big question for you. You go through an incident, you have cyber insurance. What happens then?
Yeah. So cyber insurance, when you go through an incident, they're going to have specific things that they want to have done. You're going to have specific things that you want to have done. And so you want to make sure that those are aligned. They're serving somewhat different masters. One's going to be serving the insurance company and one's going to be serving you. But how do you move forward? How do you work together? What are some things that you maybe are expecting to have happen? What are some things that you'd be kind of surprised about? We're going to get into all that today.
Perfect. Yeah, so that brings me to my next question. So what essentially do they do, and what do you need to do after an event?
Yeah. So they have all these tools that you're not gonna really have access to before you go through an event. And by tools, I don't mean like, hey, here's a software package. I'm meaning processes and procedures and people that you wouldn't normally have a reason to interact with. And so they're going to get you involved with their incident response team. They're going to go through and they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. They're going to do a forensic investigation. They're going to try to find out why the attack happened, what vulnerabilities they went through. And these might not just be vulnerabilities in like, hey, the system was unpatched, but what were some technical procedures or cybersecurity procedures that you weren't following that allowed this bad thing to happen and to propagate into something that ended up getting to the spot where it is right now. They're going to go through and they're going to work on remediation to help you get your systems back up and running. Their goal is to find out forensics first, so they're going to be looking to get you back up and running. Maybe not on the time frame that you were looking at, or you would much like. And then they're gonna go from there, and they're going to be trying to say, okay, what are we going to do now to prevent this from happening again? And a lot of stuff is going to change. But yeah.
So that plagues the question: whose incident response is it?
Right. Yeah. So. That's the big thing. So there's a reason why cyber insurance has these incident responders on retainer. They work for the insurance company. One of their big things that they're going to be trying to find out is, were you at fault to cause this incident? And so this is the dirty truth about this. And it's the same way with every insurance. If you've ever done a car insurance claim or a health insurance claim or any of these sorts of things, they're going to try to find out, did you do something that would have voided your insurance policy to make it so they don't have to pay? And I don't blame them for that. That's their job. Their job is to have you pay insurance for them not to pay claims. That's what they want to have happen. Now you're there. It's a nice safety net in order for you not to be destitute. But I like to use this analogy as for home insurance, right? Like if your house burns down, it's going to suck. But your homeowner's insurance is going to make sure that you're not destitute. They're going to have a place where you live. They're going to help you rebuild. They're going to do all those sorts of things. But they're also going to do an investigation. And if they find out you were keeping open containers of gasoline in the basement, they're likely not going to pay your claim. Right? And so they're doing the same thing from the cyber insurance perspective, is they're going and looking and saying, hey, did you leave these open containers of gasoline in your business that caused this cyber attack to happen and burned your business down? Right? That's what they're looking for. And so what I'm saying is you want to have somebody that's on your side as an advocate for you, and this is why we talk about getting your attorneys involved early, right? But also with another IT firm or generally with your IT people, we want somebody to be an advocate for you to go through, and not only from the cyber insurance side. We're not hiding anything from the cyber insurance, but it's also like, hey, our goal is not going to be 100% this investigation. Your goal is not going to be 100% this investigation. Your goal is to get your business back up and functioning in a safe manner. Right? So there's two different ideas that were being looked at here. And do you have somebody that's working for you from that side to get your business back up and running? And we're going to put this all in a parallel thing. We're going to put this all over in a parallel system and not destroy any data and not destroy anything forensically and let the incident responders do what they need to do to respond to this. But how can I get a parallel system up and running to make sure that your business can start functioning and making money again while you're dealing with this other thing that's happening on parallel?
Gotcha. Okay. So let's say you have an internal team. Can your internal team really, in your experience, can they handle that much extra work when something like this goes on?
It depends, right? So yes and no, generally no. It's kind of that was a non-committal answer. But what ends up happening is every single one of these incidents we've seen is somebody goes through a ransomware event, the servers get encrypted, all the PCs get encrypted. Generally, we have to have them running on parallel hardware for the server side of things. So do you even have the resources to have a parallel system? Do you have servers that are just sitting around not in use? You know, every single one of these places, we've brought in loaner equipment that we have. We have spare servers that are sitting there for disasters like this, but also just regular disasters like your server room floods, whatever. So we bring over spare equipment to get backup copies of the servers running on so that these companies can keep working while this other data sits here in parallel. So those are resources you probably don't have as your internal IT team. They probably just don't have servers sitting around that are ready to do this because that costs money and you have to justify keeping that around. But then every single one of your computers generally needs the hard drive pulled out and labeled and put on a shelf somewhere that it can be scanned later for forensics, and a new hard drive put into that machine and to be reformatted, have it built from scratch, have Windows installed, put all your applications back on, what data loss happened from those PCs that were likely not being backed up, all those sorts of things. So your IT, your internal IT in a lot of these cases is going to be doing that. They're going to have 3 or 4 days just reformatting computers. One scenario, we went over to a place where they had an outsourced IT person. He wasn't doing the right cyber recommendations. They were already not happy with this person, but he didn't make it through the cyber event. They ended up working with us after that. I had at least one person down there every single day for 3 weeks. Every single day, all day, every day, just getting 7 computers or 8 computers rebuilt, put back online, data restored, all those sorts of things. Their bill from us was close to $30,000 just for that time to rebuild their system. And that wasn't $30,000 to make their business better. That was $30,000 just to get it back up in limp mode because they lost 18 months of data. Wow. So this is the cost that you're going to see that goes on. Can your internal IT handle getting parallel servers rebuilt, getting all the hard drives unplugged and reinstalled, doing all these things that are not what they do every single day? They're not in their wheelhouse. And so we can provide help with that. We have provided help with that. We have staff members that can come down and do that sort of thing. And so there's things that are going to be done that the cyber insurance is going to be looking at logs. Their incident responders are going to be looking at logs. They want you to collect logs and send it to them. They will likely use a software called Velociraptor that looks at the logs that are from the computers and tries to identify where this incident came from, all those items. They're going to be doing things that way. What do you do that the things that they're not going to do? They're not going to help you rebuild. They're not going to be doing those kinds of things. They're not going to be rebuilding parallel servers. They're going to be gathering data. Can you do all these things in parallel?
Gotcha. So you made me think of something. You were mentioning equipment, having that equipment on standby. If you don't have that equipment on standby, how quickly can somebody get the extra equipment that they need just to even reformat some of these computers?
Well, so one case we were working with, the company needed to buy new servers from Dell anyways. They had been holding off on it, and they decided to go ahead and buy new servers during this time frame. It took 3 weeks for the new servers to come in, right? So we had them running on our loaner equipment for a 3+ week period while that happened. And so if they were to say, hey, right now, I'm going to go to Dell and buy the equipment, or I'm going to HP, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go to one of these places and buy the equipment. Unless they're buying literally in-stock equipment, there's a ramp time in order to get these server hardware, which actually today is even worse because of all the data center stuff. Like, it's getting harder to get server hardware. It's getting harder to get it faster. We're seeing larger lead times, whereas we're keeping these kinds of infrastructures in stock for these types of items to happen. But I don't know of really any company that has parallel technology that's just sitting there at their office dormant, unless it's really old that they haven't decommed fully yet, right? That they can run up a separate infrastructure for this. So if they're going to do that, they're going to either have to wait for forensic investigation to be done before they can start restoring, because they don't have a place to put the new data, so there's time there, or they're going to have to try to get some kind of equipment through hook or crook, any means necessary to try to get it installed in their system so they can run the parallel systems until their initial resources are available to be put back into production.
Gotcha. And when you're applying for cyber insurance, you get a questionnaire, right? You have to answer all these questions about what you're doing for cybersecurity and all the redundancy plans that you have in place. What happens is if you filled that out incorrectly, or maybe you lied a little bit and said you were doing MFA, but maybe not everyone's doing MFA. Is that something, when they're doing these investigations, can they find that out?
Yeah, they can find it out. So one of the things that they're running for the investigation, and they're gonna say, and it's true, they're gonna look for how did the hackers get access to your system to cause all this stuff to happen. But also, while they're looking for that, they're going to try to find out if there was something that you were negligent in, that you said that you were doing, that you're not doing, partially as a reason for them to deny your claim. It's just facts, right? This isn't it's their job. I don't blame them for doing it. It's part of what they do. Oftentimes, though, I'll see that people, they just didn't know when they filled out the cyber form, right? Or they thought that they were doing something and they really weren't, or their IT guys told them that they were and they weren't, and there's all kinds of stuff that goes on with that. The questions are also, I think, worded really badly. When they're like, is MFA turned on? Well, where? You know, is it
one computer has it?
Yeah,
We should be fine.
or is it on your email? Well, it should be on every single Office 365 account. Is it? Can you verify that? Is it on your remote access software? Is it on your VPNs? Is it on your SASE solutions? Is it on all those types of things? So now it's not single factor authentication. Have you audited that recently to make sure that it is? Are you doing the things to make sure that not only did you fill out that cyber insurance application correctly to get your compliance with cybersecurity, are you doing the things necessary to maintain that compliance? You know, if you said you're doing these sorts of things, can you prove it? So you said, okay, hey, they found out that MFA wasn't on something. You can show them an audit that you did 2 months prior to say, hey, that's weird because it was on, and here's my audit, and that I can prove that sort of thing, right? So, you know, it's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of factors that are at play here, but they're going to look and they're going to try to find out, were you doing something that you said you were doing? Were you not doing that thing? And that's what caused you to get hacked, and we don't have to pay your claim now.
So how do, oh, yeah, man.
The reason that they're doing this, first and foremost, is back in the day, it used to be if you could fog a mirror and write a check, then you could get cyber insurance. Like, are you alive and have a checkbook? That's literally was the requirements that they had back in the day.
Right.
But what happened is the hackers realized that, and then the cyber insurance became the bank for criminals. And so they said, hey, we don't want to do this anymore. And so they start asking questions, and they're doing it from a kind of an innocuous thing. They have all this data from years and years and years and years and years of what kind of driving behaviors cause more car accidents, right? And so they're trying to gather that data in a form that can give them that same information from the cyber insurance side. Companies that are doing X, Y, and Z are less likely that we end up paying a cyber claim, right? And so that's why they ask you all those questions. But it's also, if you're going to fill out those things and self-attest to doing those sorts of things, and they find out that you're not doing them later, well, then they're going to say, we never would have given you coverage had we known that you were doing these unsafe behaviors. And I see it 100% from their side.
Gotcha. Okay, so basically, if you're not doing enough for cyber insurance, you could be risking your claim being denied, so you're not going to get the money there, and then just you have to think about downtime costs at that point, reputational costs, and everything else on top of that. So when you could have just easily had that cybersecurity preventative measures up front and just prevented the whole thing from happening.
Yeah, and a huge amount of what we do when I go do an audit at a company, when I go look at their systems and I look at their security, our base solution here at Forbes that everybody gets is higher than almost all the cyber insurance requirements we've seen. The only cases where it's not, where somebody's in a specialized industry where they have some extra compensating controls that they need over certain items. But we offer those services as well. So cyber insurance has never asked for something that we couldn't do. I look at that though, and I look for, okay, can you get cyber insurance? And a lot of companies that we work with, we were what caused them to get cyber insurance for the first time, because once they got our controls up, then they were able to meet those requirements. But are we doing the things, the non-sexy things of cybersecurity that we talk about all the time, to make sure that if they do go through something, then the cyber insurance pays, right? So those are the pieces that it's looked at, and that's kind of what our audit is partially built around, is compliance within cyber insurance, right? To make sure that we're all meeting the same goal here, is to make sure your data stays yours, to make sure your employees can sit down every day and do the jobs that you want them to do, and that technology doesn't get in their way.
Gotcha. So you definitely want to have someone standing in your corner and not relying on the insurance team, essentially.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
You want to have a team.
Yeah, you want to have a team looking out for you. Mm-hmm. And John, what else? Anything else you'd like to add on that?
You know, guys, we say this all the time, and this is why we're providing this education, but I really, really just want you, if you have questions about any of this at all, if you're not 100% sure, from a truthful look, you've looked at it and you know, because you know about cybersecurity and you know that you're doing the right things, and you know you're doing enough, then get some other opinion.
Right.
You know, just don't rely on it and say, hey, we're doing our due diligence, right? You need to actually do the things, what I've talked about in another video, and I'll reiterate here. You as a business owner, as a business leader, are responsible for the health of your company. You can try to say it's IT's job all you want, but at the end of the day, if you go through a hack, the risk that you allowed in your organization, you're the one that's going to have to answer to that risk at the end of the day. And so you want to make sure that those things are covered and taken care of.
Oh, great. A lot of great information, John. We appreciate it as always. So join us next time. Make sure you're following us, like and subscribe, save our videos. And until next time, guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Uninterrupted, a podcast from Fausz Cybersecurity. We hope you walked away with practical insights to protect your business and stay ahead of the latest cyber threats. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your colleagues. For more tips, resources, and cybersecurity updates, visit Forbis.com, that's 4bis.com, and follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook. We'll be back soon with another episode, so stay vigilant and stay uninterrupted.